Today's story was written by Reddit user Random3x. Loxic looked out his viewpoint at the planet of the race named humans. They were a race that seemed just as contradictory as it was straightforward. The best word he had yet found to describe them was indomitable. Humanity had burst on the scene only 100 years ago during the great collapse of the Yeleti Empire. The empire itself was corrupt and a vicious bully that preferred to take from everyone. But after meeting humanity in what had come to be known as the Great Deception, they began to reform. By the time the deception of the humans had been uncovered, a vast civil war had broken out. Supposedly, the reformers refused to back down in the face of the conservatists. The conflict that had been kept initially to the Yeleti system spread like a Nox fire across the entire galaxy. Feeling responsible for this, humanity joined the conflict, hoping to quell the chaos they themselves had unleashed. At first, no one wanted their help, but this changed as their soldiers proved themselves time and time again. The sacrifice of Catapharix, the last stand of the spearmen, the great charge of the horse guard. Many battles where the humans held against all odds, often incurring casualties so severe they had all but been wiped out. All to save those they had come to aid. Loxic couldn't help but sigh. He himself had been a mere youngling when he was rescued by a human warrior. The men shoved him out of the way of a heavy plasma barrage. Despite sustaining injuries, the Loxic could still remember the smile on the man's face. It was only later that he learnt the man's last words to him were translated as, "Good, you're okay. Run to safety, I'll hold them off." Even in his adult years, Loxic felt a deep debt to that man, but he could never understand why. Why had humanity strived so hard to save people? They could have easily avoided the majority of the conflict, but they still pressed on into the proverbial meat grinder. "Loxic, are you okay?" one of the human generals he was there to meet asked, having noticed his disposition. "Just remembering my childhood, the human who sacrificed himself for me." "Ah, apologies if we have brought up bad memories." "I still do not understand why he did it though." "You were a child at the time, right?" Loxic nodded. "Then that was all the reason we would need." Loxic understood the idea of sacrificing oneself to ensure the young survive, but there was a barrier of why they would do it for another species. Seeing his answer wasn't good enough, the general smiled and sat next to him. "We would rather invest in the infinite future of a child than anything else. But the will it would take to do such a thing. The will required would be something if it is all at once would be too much. But we have a saying amongst humans. The man who moves a mountain begins by carrying away small stones. The idea is just by taking even small steps, progress can be made to the impossible. Surely, though, such a saying cannot be all true. Small steps, yes, but that would not explain the strength of will needed to self-sacrifice as your race does." "Let me tell you a story then. Long, long ago, there was a man who lived in a remote village. His wife was hurt in an accident. I assume she was taken to a doctor." The general nodded. "Sadly, she died on the way to the doctor. You see, the route to the doctor forced them to go around a mountain. In his grief, the man took a hammer and chisel and carved the mountain into small rocks." "Surely you don't mean to say—" "Yes. He moved the mountain. He carved a path through the mountain and reduced a nearly 35-mile trip to only 9. He didn't do it in a day nor a year. It took him decades, but he still did it. Why did he do such a feat? Simple. To ensure no one would have to suffer as he did. We humans are a mixed and muddled race at the best of times, but when our will is hardened enough, even a man can move a mountain. So saving a child at the cost of your life, if anything, is an easier task." "I see," Loxic said as he fell into thought. Truly, the word indomitable was the most fitting for humanity, because what else could you call their feats?